Way
I don't know
easier.
where you're talking about climbing poles here, Mando.
It's not the
But,
poll that you you're thinking, Ramirez.
oh man! So what's the latest in Bitcoin? Did you see the price crash this week?
It's just bananas, man. Like everybody's like, oh, crash $58,000. Like, bro, I mean, I'm still 40% this year up, right? It's just selling media. We mentioned this before. I think that it's a drop for sure.
Mhm.
22%. We reach out maybe 74,800 bucks, which was kind of the highest. It's a decent drop, right? But man, we are hodlers. We have seen worst.
It doesn't phase us. But here's the thing. I think it's a good thing. Just because these you need to expect for those that this might be your first cycle or even your second cycle, you know that we see these drops every so often and it's normal and expected. When the cycles, the bull run starts, it doesn't go just straight up. I've said it before. It does like these little bunny hops. They might seem like psycho bunny hops, but they're little bunny hops, right? So it'll go up to 74,000 and then come back down to 56. And then the next one will be a little bit higher and then it'll come back down. So this is zigzag. So these 20 to 25% drops in a bull run are normal and they're expected. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I have this picture. Imagine to climb something like in a big pole. It's very hard, right, compared to a staircase. So,
yeah.
so
I
way
don't know
easier.
where you're talking about climbing poles here, Mando.
It's not the
But
pole that you you're thinking, Ramirez. But yes, it is way difficult, right, to do it in a straight line. I think that that's what people is not kind of perceiving. So yeah, it's expected. Also, remember this is a risk asset, um, which it has some volatility, and that's what at some point you want because you want those spikes. If something is very stable, then like a U.S. bond, government bond, right? Might not move, right? Because it's super stable.
yep.
But yeah, I think that's normal. It's expected. Have time on hands, hodl it.
Yeah, so true. So usually there's something that causes the drop though, and I think we saw lots of interesting news this time around. Like, okay, so supposedly Russia banned something. I don't know if they're banning Bitcoin or something like that, but they're like, no, we're banning it. So Russia, just like China, they want the control and things like that. So you're going to see this back and forth with them. Another interesting one was there were some arrests and things like that. So run-ins with the law that happened also. So are you familiar with Roger Ver, Mando?
The Bitcoin Jesus.
Yeah, Bitcoin Jesus. He's actually like a proponent of Bitcoin Cash. And it's like another one of those, like, Bitcoin Cash didn't take off and it's a fork of the original Bitcoin, all
Yeah.
this stuff, right? Well, he's an early Bitcoin investor, whatever. So that's how he kind of made his name. Well, he was just arrested for tax evasion in Spain. So
You gotta pay your taxes, man.
yeah, you can't get
that's
away
that's
from
how
that, right?
that's how they got Al Capone, right? Not for all of the bad things that he did.
Yeah.
I think that one thing that we need to let people is sometimes you have this is like a good example will be imagine gold is kind of your baseline. Then you start having fiat money like US dollars or pesos, whatever it is. And then on top of that, maybe you have a credit card that is kind of stacking on the previous, I guess, technology or commodity. In
Mm-hmm.
the case of Bitcoin, Bitcoin is kind of the base. Then you start seeing other things, and even within Bitcoin itself, like they start creating new algorithms and they start creating new stacks. The other one is Lightning Network, and they start
Mm-hmm.
building it in order to be able to transact in a cheaper way. And also you have kind of Bitcoin Cash as well, right? So it's just moving on. It's just interesting because you see developers and that they're trying to build on top of that infrastructure.
Yeah. And so, okay, Roger Ver, did that move the needle? Well, another famous Bitcoiner, CZ, right? the guy that helped put SBF in jail. Now he got his jail time, but actually it seems very, very lenient. 4 months. So he had a run in with SEC. SEC started threatening him, blah blah blah. I think he had to plead guilty or something like that. But he only got 4 months. So again, not too bad considering he just kind of ignored a bunch of the laws when it came to markets, Bitcoin market, things like that. So CZ's going to jail for a little bit. Lots of interesting news, but here's one that I think it maybe really spook some people.
Before you jump in, do you know why they call him the Bitcoin Jesus?
Roger Ver.
Hmm.
I think he was just one of the big early proponents of Bitcoin. So he was out there all the time saying, "Hey, Bitcoin this," trying to get people on ramped, and I don't know. I guess it caught on. Bitcoin Jesus.
Hmm. I'm not sure why maybe Michael Saylor is not I guess, the Bitcoin
He's
prophet,
the
huh?
real Bitcoin Jesus, right? I think Roger Ver just caught on a little bit before Saylor was in the mix.
Interesting.
Well, so Roger Ver, he's actually, it's kind of weird. He was actually born and raised in Silicon Valley, so he was, maybe he knew he had to coin a name, right? He was in the business. He actually got in trouble before this also by selling fireworks on eBay, like way early on, right? So he was always doing some crazy stuff. He's kind of the type that just kind of goes full bore on these things, right?
He needed to serve time in jail, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. He even did things like he tried to renounce his citizenship. Also, and tried to get citizenship elsewhere outside of the United States. So I don't know. This guy is kind of an interesting guy all over the place. But he was just kind of one of these early proponents on this guy. So
I
for
mean, if
Bitcoin,
he really didn't want to pay taxes, he could have go to Puerto Rico, right, and stay there for 6, 7 months, and then
right?
reduce his taxes, right? To there's certain things. Again,
There's
we're not
ways.
financial
There's ways.
advisors.
Yeah.
We
No.
are not accountants.
Yeah, there's ways of doing everything legal. So I mean, like, I don't know what this guy was doing, but he got caught. And so, just like CZ, like CZ's big time, like one of the top people in Bitcoin. Even he's going to jail.
Bitstamp, yeah, that's
Uh,
another big exchange that he built. Yep.
so it's just like, man, like, so again, like, I think this crash, and by the way, it's already recovered a little bit. We're back up to like 63, 64K, something
64.
like that.
Mhm.
But it did go down a good amount to below 57 to 56.8. I think it was a culmination of a bunch of little things. So, but I was thinking this BlackRock news that came out is like there weren't that many inflows to BlackRock in this last week. So, of course, all of this data is kind of out there in public that you can see how much each of the ETFs. How much inflows they're getting of people wanting to buy Bitcoin, and it slowed down a lot for BlackRock, which they were one of the biggest ones starting off since January. So that, I don't know if that's like an indicator to some people, and that caused some of the price to drop.
Yeah, and also remember, people were expecting with the ETF that to the moon, and yes, I think that we'll reach the moon, but it's not gonna be like 30 days after the ETF, right? So I think that it will take some time to because they move very slow. Wall Street moves slow in certain regards, like they have to get approvals from hedge funds managers. They have to get sometimes they are pension funds that they have to manage. So and that takes time for them to get approval on these investments. The instrument is there, and now they can even propose. So I think that we'll start seeing a ripple effect based on that. Um, Sometimes it might be 30 days, right, as fast as that, or it could take, I don't know, 1 year, 18 months to develop to that point.
Yeah, for sure. We've got plenty of time ahead of us. Like, this is all still pretty new. We're talking about just like 3-4 months ago that this became like even an option for people. There's some other news kind of like that is also affecting maybe some of this. Some people may have been expecting the Fed to cut rates a little bit, and they didn't really see that in the last meeting. So I think we saw stocks as a whole also come down a little bit. It's not just Bitcoin, and maybe we're seeing a little bit of correlation here, like Bitcoin running similar to the market as a whole, right? It's not inversely correlated as much as what we thought, at least at this point. So I don't know if people are looking for reasons why this happened. I think there's a lot of little things that can help explain or give some reasoning to it.
Yeah. Let's watch how the Fed is reacting on maybe some of the rates. Nobody knows what the Fed is going to do. And it's tough. Let me tell you, that job is very, very hard, right? Trying to figure out how much you lower, how fast you lower, or because it influences the whole economy. And if they
Hmm.
don't do it properly, we will get into a recession. And if they do it too fast, we can even get into a hyperinflation that almost you have to take a car to just get a piece of bread, right? Full of fiat dollars. And in that point, maybe, yeah, Bitcoin will be $1 million. But guess what? How many Teslas you can buy with a Bitcoin? I think that's a more interesting trade. Right now, maybe 160K, right? One Cybertruck. But maybe in the future, right? Maybe we'll see how many more.
Yeah. So we'll see. So all this is to explain, like, don't 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 just believe all the headlines that are saying, "Hey, this stuff is crashing. It's going to zero." And that's not really the case. And there's usually some background. And Bitcoin does tend to move with the market as a whole in a lot of cases. So just remember these 20 to 25% drops are normal and expected as we move through the bull run. It's just really preparing, maybe liquidating some people so it can make the next run up to the next target, which, I think a lot of people are thinking that it could be more towards the 100K point for this next like all-time high target. So we'll be building as we move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that we have a good one, man.
Oh yeah, I guess that's the end, right? Well, you know what? I haven't told y'all yet, but don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Obviously, we love to hear from you. I think there's a Mr. Randall out there that let us know he loved our content. You know what? We love you for checking us out. So, if you haven't watched our viral Bitcoin all time high meme remix, go check it out. We've got two of them. We're working on a special Michael Saylor one too, so keep an eye out for that. We've got a good one here, but
A
that's all we've
Michael
got for
Saylor
today.
tribute.
You'll see it soon. Dale.
Bye.